Hello and welcome back to 100 Yards of Football, Sports Talk Radio. I'm your producer, Jeremiah Long, and joining me to talk about Josh Heupel, the new head coach over at the University of Tennessee, the place where I grew up when I was going through high school into college. That's going to be Mr. Logan Landers telling us about that. How's it going, Mr. Landers?
Hey, what's going on, Jeremiah? We're talking some Tennessee football here. We haven't done that in a while here on the show.
There you go,
Certainly, I know you're near and dear to your heart, and it's a new time over there in Tennessee, and a lot of fans are excited for Josh Heupel, and I can see why. Very impressive.
Yeah, and so I was in high school in Knoxville, Tennessee during the time that we actually won the championship around '98. And so I saw some of the great players come and go in that era. I didn't go to UT, but I spent a whole lot of time down on what we call the Strip, which is the University of Tennessee's main area for college kids to aggregate. And I've been to a million, parties over there. I've been to a million tailgates. I've been to plenty of games over at Neyland Stadium. And I'll tell you, like, he's coming into an amazing program with an amazing history. And I can only, tell him, do what you can as quickly as you can as a head coach, because the UT fans they're quick to snap on it if they don't really like what's going on. The Alumni Association is very deeply, deeply ingrained into what's going on with the football team. So those motivators they're gonna call you. I just can't wait to see what else he does. But Mr. Landers, give us your breakdown of how you think of who is Josh Heupel, and what is he going to do here at UT?
Yeah, so Josh Heupel's had a very storied career throughout college football. Back in 2000, he was on the Oklahoma Sooners team who won the BCS national title. So he's already had good success in college. He tried to go, get his hand in the NFL for a little bit. That didn't work too good. So then he said, you know what? I'm going to go over to coaching. So he did a few stints, at a few smaller schools. And then he ended up at University of Central Florida, UCF, where a lot of fans have come to know that school over the past few years. The uncrowned world champions from a few years ago when they had a really good season. And Josh Heupel, man, he was at the head of all that. If it wasn't for him, we still would, UCF wouldn't nearly be the dominant school that people were talking about. But I was looking at just some of the stats that he had at UCF and what that offense did, and man, they were impressive. So whenever he was at UCF, he was only there for a few seasons. He was coaching there from 2018 through 2020. His offense was off the charts. They averaged 43 points per game, 5th in the FBS. It all gets better though. Yards per game, 1st, 542. Oh, but wait, there's more though. Their passing yards, they had around 307. That's 8th. And then rushing yards, 235. So he was top 10 in every single offensive category, seemingly. Offense, you got it. For passing and rushing, he's right there. Yards, points, everything you want. This guy knows how to run an offense. And if you're a Tennessee Volunteers fan, this is what you've been begging for. Because it just didn't work out last year. It really didn't. They started off the year nice. They won 2 games. And then it all went downhill. They had a big losing streak. They only got 3 wins on the whole season. Jared Garantano didn't have a great season. He moved on. They fired their head coach. They got rid of their athletic coordinator or athletic director as well. So it's a brand new regime here for the Tennessee Volunteers. And I think that Josh Heupel, man, he's had a very good coaching career at UCF. And I hope, and I know you hope too, that continues over to UT with the Vols. This guy has done a lot at UCF. His first year there in 2018, he was 12-1. His next year, 2019, 10-3. So he's been 22-4 in his first 2 years. And then this past 2020 season, he went 6-4. So for an overall record of 28-8, as a UT fan, you've been wanting that for a while, I know. You just want any form of, positive record, over 500. But it's all right, though, because I think that Josh Heupel is here. He's got to make a change. And with the roster, because the roster's had a good shakeup as well, like I said, you're going to have a new starting quarterback. You're going to have a whole lot of players coming in, learning, excited under this system. And I think that Josh Heupel was a good fit. It's a great hire. He did a lot of great things at UCF. He's going to transition into the SEC now, so we'll see how he does. It might take a few games for him. Let's see. First thing, he's going to need a good offensive coordinator, good defense coordinator, and a good motivation coach. Yeah. Hey, I believe Derrick Jones. I think that if he can get all those pieces, I think he'll be fine. Because his track record proves that this guy knows how to coach. He loves the game of football. And if, like you said, if you can get a good defensive coordinator, an offensive coordinator, and even a motivational speaker in there a time or two, that'll help out your guys, man. Because the Vols fans been going through it. The players been going through it. They need a little bit of spark in their life. They need a little bit of hype. They need to get some positivity. And I think that if Josh can do all that and he can hopefully turn this ship around that's been sinking for a while now and get it upright back into C and into a winning record, I think the fans are going to love Josh Heupel. I think that this might finally be the solution that all the Vols fans have been looking for as a head coach for a while now. You got good players. You're going to have a solid recruiting class. I think that the Vols are looking up. I think it's time that they're not going to get 3 wins this year. They're going to get past that. They're not going to be in the bottom of the SEC anymore. I think it's their time. I think they're going to be middle of the road this year. I think that's a solid assessment. I still don't see them beating the Alabamas, the Georgias of the world, the Floridas, all those big teams. Not quite yet. But the big thing, they are going to be competitive. They're going to get a lot of good work in with all of these players. They're going to have a lot of hard-fought games. You're not going to see the players slouched over on the sidelines knowing that the game's over by the second quarter. So I think that with Josh Heupel, he's bringing in a brand-new regime. Like you say, he's bringing in a whole lot of new faces for that UT program. But this final shakeup, because what seemingly has been, trying to get this team back on track for a while now, I think that this is going to be a good hire by the Volunteers, and I think that they're finally going to get back to winning football sooner rather than later. I like this hire, and I think Josh Heupel is going to have a tremendous impact on the UT Vols this season and for many years to come. Muted.
Absolutely agree, and I've got to tell you, when the UT Vols get a new head coach in, which has happened several times in the last decade, we always think one thing: will this be the one that locks us in? Will this be our legacy, head coach for the next who knows how long, 5 years, 10 years, decades, for the rest of our lives, in some cases. And I've seen the joy and the passion with each of the last head coaches we've got in that, has thought, maybe this is the one. I'll tell you what's different with this one is he is not coming in with a big marketing package where he's like, we're going to change the way people view the Vols. He's not coming in with this hype record of, well, if he can't do it, nobody can. He's coming in with this grit where he wants to work hard. He wants to come in. He wants to build an amazing, coaching team around him, and he wants to show how solid football works. And that's what I feel like the UT Vols need. We don't need another hype man head coach, one that gets more headlines than the players or one that gets more headlines than the wins. We don't need the kind of head coach who is trying to convince the alumni association that, he deserves to be there. We just need someone to put their nose to the ground, to come in, get some crucial wins off this first couple of seasons. They don't have to beat Alabama every single season, but they do have to bring it to the house. When, any of these big SEC teams come to our land in Neyland Stadium, or when we take it to their house, we would need to be a stand-up team. And at the end of this season, I feel like Josh will be a head coach for the ages for the Vols if he can do this one thing. If he can make the fans and the whole SEC, even the non-fans, think, well, UT deserves to be a top-ranked SEC team. That's the only thing that I really care about for this season. I want the Vols to come out of this season being known as being a qualified, ready-to-go SEC team. Do you have any final thoughts for our new head coach here?
Yeah, so, this is, I think, your 5th or 6th head coach since Philip Fulmer left in 2008. So, yeah. It's just like you said, that track record for the previous coaches just hasn't worked out. You had a good glimpse a few seasons ago. You thought that might be it. You had a good winning record, and that was just, it didn't work out. It's gonna be tough for Josh this year, though, I think, because there's been a lot of really good, talented guys who were already left the program, who entered the transfer portal. So he's inheriting a little bit of a rocky situation. It's a fresh start. This team might not be great to start things off. They might lose a few games to start the year. But like I said, I think they're at least going to be competitive. They're not just going to give up. I think that Heupel's impact, like you said, when he played at Oklahoma back in the late 90s, early 2000s, when he won that national championship, I really think that's going to help him out because he's been to the mountaintops. He's won the biggest thing you can win in college football. He's won, and he knows what it takes to have a winning program as a player, as a coach. And I think that just give him some time. Don't, if the Vols don't have a great first season, it's okay. We know it's a rough year. They have a lot of brand new talent coming in, and that's all right. I think they're going to be fine. I think Josh Heupel is a great hire. I'm excited to see what he's going to do this year.
Excellent. Well, for everybody watching, make sure you tell us, Josh Heupel, what is he going to do? What kind of season are the Vols going to have this year? And almost more importantly, what kind of season are the Vols going to have in the next season, 2 years from now, after we get through all of the transitions, after we get some time on the field with this individual, and after we see what the team's going to shake out to be? So tell us in the comments. And for everybody watching us, thank you so much for watching us. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe, especially sharing our videos into Facebook groups and sharing it with your friends and family. That's one of the best ways to tell people that you really support what we're doing here at 100 Yards of Football. But also listen to us over on our podcast. We have an amazing podcast that we put out every single day. Just look up 100 Yards of Football wherever you listen to podcasts, over on Spotify, over on Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else that you listen to podcasts. So for the whole team here at 100 Yards of Football, I'm Jeremiah Long, the producer, and you've been listening to Mr. Logan Landers break down Josh Heupel, the new head coach at the University of Tennessee. And we'll see you again for another live video here in just a few minutes.